Well, this is such a terrible view. We'll just go the other way. I don't know why it won't let you do the horizontal view anymore. And when you put up the long way, of course, you got the mirror in the way, but it's whatever. All right. The subject matter at hand. Just getting hustled by the government and just such an obvious hustle. Such an obvious hustle, and the average person just does not see it. Again, let's revisit the Key Bridge collapse because it's about to be washed away with everything else in the United States of amnesia. This event happens, a huge bridge falls in a major city, and instantly the government comes out and asks for billions of dollars from the taxpayer. I mean, literally billions of dollars. You got to think about how big of a sum of money that is. Yeah, it might be a small amount incrementally when you divide it up amongst a nation of, whatever it is, 200 million taxpayers. But it's still a large sum of money, and the nation needs to operate, or the people of the nation need to understand what is really taking place when things like the Key Bridge collapse occur. It's not an isolated event, it's part of a long-standing pattern. If you watch the media coverage, again, they explain to you that the birthday, or the bridge had just celebrated its 47th birthday. It had just turned 47 years old. Just 3 days earlier, March 23rd, same day that the owner of the Orioles dropped dead on the 83rd day of the year, like the Orioles last won the World Series in 83. Same day in history that Hyundai was established back in 1972, and they owned the boat that crashed into the bridge that construction began in 72. Anyhow, you start to look at these things, it's either one massive coincidence or it's not, and something else is going on. And again, these are just tiny little details. But the main thing is, after years of looking at stuff like this and researching it and just going, something doesn't seem right here, and what are the odds of this, and what are the odds of that, it all started back for me after 9/11, looking into how in 1968 World Trade Center construction began in New York, and 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, and Bush got out of college and everything else. But 1968, and then this bridge financed in that year as well, funny enough. But again, you say, what are the odds that all those things happened in that year just by accident? That it being a coincidence? And bear with me one second. Sorry, I'm getting some weird message on the car. I'm just trying to find out what this little error looks about. All these new cars with all these computers. It's like, what is the deal? Anyway, I think we're good. But yeah, this Key Bridge collapse. Again, for years, just looking at these things and going, is this, what's with the ongoing patterns and all these things happening in the same year that correlate later in the future so perfectly? And again, looking into it, took me over a decade to find the word I was looking for, gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words. And lo and behold, again, you learn gematria, just ABC 1, 2, 3. You realize, again, Key Bridge equals 86. It comes down on the 86th day of the year. And then again, they tell you it's the Francis Scott Key Bridge. And you look back and you see that Nancy Pelosi started her Asian tour a couple years back in Singapore. The ship that crashed into the bridge is from Singapore, crashed into the bridge on her birthday. But on Francis Scott Key's birthday, she was in Singapore with the prime minister of that country shaking his hand. And then 86 weeks and 1 day later, the Key Bridge comes down on the 86th day of the year. And then again, it's like you're watching the news. You're watching the news, and the next thing you know, CNN's got on the lead investigator of the Oklahoma City bombing. Of all people to ask, this old man who did this lead investigation for this thing that a lot of people think is a federal cover-up. Again, all kinds of documentaries made about this. We were down in Oklahoma City on April 19th the other year to expose what we know about it. But out of all the people in the world for CNN to have on, they have this old man, the lead investigator of that, to tell you that it was just an accident what happened at Maryland, nothing else. And then a few days later, a bar just crashed into a bridge in Oklahoma, which I just put out a short video on that. I'll come back to that. And just with the 86 pattern with Oklahoma City. Remember, at the time of the Oklahoma City bombing, Bill Clinton was the president. And all the stories are coming out about all his affairs with women, and one of the women was from Oklahoma, and her name was Jennifer Flowers. And then I want to go back and double check, but I'm pretty sure if you measure from Jennifer Flowers' actual birthday to the day that the building blew up in Oklahoma City, I'm pretty sure it was 86 days later. Pretty sure in Gematria for Flowers equals 86. It's something like that. I'll go back and double check it when I'm not driving. But again, all of this stuff is high ritual. And remember back then when Oklahoma City blew up in 95, Joe Biden had just passed the nation's first counterterrorism legislation on Governor Keating's birthday, the governor of Oklahoma at the time, whose brother put out a book called The Final Jihad, which gives predictive programming for what happened in Oklahoma City. Got a character named Tom McVeigh. Oklahoma City building blows up with a fertilizer bomb. All these things in the book. Planes are hijacked in that book. Goes to McVeigh being put to death 3 months before September 11th. And again, McVeigh was born in 1968, the year all the stuff went into motion for 9/11. Just like the lead hijacker born in 68. Just like Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliners. Might be something with Seattle and Oklahoma City because the basketball team, the Sonics, named after Sonic Booms, they moved down to Oklahoma City. But anyhow, the ritual in Baltimore. Again, they said the ship hit Pillar 4, and they said that ship took off at 44 minutes after the hour and crashed into the bridge at 1:28 a.m., which is 44 minutes later. So Pillar 4 gets hit 44 minutes after takeoff. And if you go back and look, the Thunder, they were on 44 winds the day of the bridge collapse. Again, it's a whole other topic. We always know to sync up the rig sports with the news. And we were talking about how, the Thunder used to be the Seattle Supersonics up near Tacoma, where the worst bridge collapse happened in history, Tacoma Narrows Bridge. And then coincidentally, the day of the Baltimore Bridge coming down, RFK Jr., Jesuit-educated, picking his VP, who's from where the Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapsed, and the governor of Maryland's from Tacoma Park. Anyway, again, it'll be the 84th anniversary of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge collapse this year, and this ritual just went down on Nancy Pelosi's 84th birthday. Salvador Dali died at 84. He had ending the broken bridge in the dream. Salvador Dali, the name of the ship Dali, crashing in. But yeah, coming back to this 44th thing. Yesterday was 4 days after the Key Bridge fell, and you can see how the media has already mostly moved on. Now it's kind of just in the hour-long news window, they're maybe sneaking a minute in about the Key Bridge updates. A couple weeks from now, it'll just be totally out of the news cycle. But huge taxpayer bill, but already forgotten. Just on the tab for us to pay next go-around next year, as they take a third to a fourth of our income to pay for all their little rituals. Big hustle. But yeah, 4 days later, this bridge scare in Oklahoma, again, you read the article, it says it empties into a body of water that's named after a military man from the past who was born on September 11th of all days. And he also, this man, the name of the body of water where that bridge is named after him, just in Oklahoma, If you look at it, he died in the year 1963. 1963. And again, Francis Scott Key died at 63. And one more time, A.B. Klobuchar, the Minnesota governor who had the bridge collapse on Francis Scott Key's birthday, August 1st. She was all in the news the day of the Key Bridge collapse. They brought her on to talk about how she got the Minnesota government to get the bridge rebuilt so fast. And again, she's 63 years old right now, and the bridge collapse was on the 307th day of her age, which is the 63rd prime. But these things, not an accident. And again, it was 86 weeks and a day after Nancy Pelosi shook hands with the prime minister. It was 603 days. Key digits 6 and 3. But yeah, this man died in 1963, and then you think about 63, that's the year of the JFK assassination. And then the one thing we didn't even touch on in this video is all the parallels with 128 and how bridge collapse in Gematria equals 128, and it came down at 128 in the morning, 128 days from the Francis Scott Key Bridge death or birthday anniversary, August 1st, 128 days prior. Again, Fern Hollow equals 128. The bridge that collapsed on 128, January 28th, when Biden was in Pittsburgh to talk infrastructure. And then the current mayor of Baltimore became Baltimore on December 8th, 128. And Obama, his movie just went on Netflix about the power going out, since they're saying the boat went out on this power on December 8th, 128. And in that boat, the White Lion crashes on shore, the big shipping, or it might be an oil liner, but massive ship crashes, the first sign that something's wrong. And the name on that boat, White Lions 128. And again, there's an hour and 28 left in the film when that happens. And then at the 128th minute of the same film, you see a destroyed New York City with a blown bridge, just perfectly by the numbers. And we've been talking about this 128 bridge collapse thing for years now, and now this happens. And it was such an obvious hustle the day Biden was in Pittsburgh, and now it's an even more obvious hustle. And anyway, I'm getting close to my destination here, but see, I don't have the right camera angle. I was trying to do it sideways, but then for some reason when you start it says flip it the other way. I don't know if they changed live so that you got to go this way for some reason. They changed something in the format. It used to be easy to just make it go sideways, but have to play around with the cell phone next time. So yeah, I'm just on my little grocery trip, and saw the news about what happened in Oklahoma, and thought, God, it's just the way we get played, man. And the fact, like, people leaving comments like, oh, well, the only way that can happen is with time travel. Like, I hope you guys are like bots or something. But all of you guys who have personality types like that, you're the reason why all the mainstream people just like don't even care. Because then they start hearing opinions like, they're like, oh, something like this can only be done with time travel. It's like, I think there's a lot more rational explanations for what's going on than time travel. How about pay a captain a whole lot of money and make sure he's immune from prosecution, or you got some blackmail over him? But again, there's all kinds of ways they can get people to make these little stupid errors that cause these huge problems that then lead to the next, multi-billion-dollar paycheck at the taxpayer expense. It's just, people gotta stop being such goofies when they talk about conspiracy stuff. Leave out all the goofy, just useless speculation. I can only imagine dropping this to somebody, got them hooked, and then all of a sudden drop the line, but this could only happen with time travel. It's like, oh yeah, I'm sure they're going to buy in now. Then again, Back to the Future, they time travel at 88. They said this bridge went down at the 88th minute of the day. Again, it is a tribute to time, but I don't think it's necessarily time travel. So, yeah, we'll leave it there for now, you guys. I hope I explained that well enough. But yeah, for all the people out there who don't see how we're getting hustled by this government, you just pay attention to the numbers each time. You learn gematria. You just see the way they got the clues stacking up. And it's more like they planned all this stuff out over a very long time. Just like how you can write a 3-part book series and then, release it episode by episode 20 years later as a show. It's just like a story was written long ago, and we're watching the story that they wrote for us play out, leading us to the, I guess the Agenda 2030 / Klaus Schwab, you'll own nothing and be happy / super surveillance state, taxation theft state. So anyway, we'll leave it there for now. Sorry about the back of the mirror view. We'll do better next time. Tell me some truth seeker.